Hello interwebs. Hello from Seattle. The wife got a job and so we moved up to Seattle. It's quite a change. It's raining at the moment. It's the end of June and it's raining. It's been raining a lot. So yeah, Seattle. Interesting. At any rate, I have a bit of time and it is now officially time for me to tackle the IMS and the clutch in my car. Now I've never really attempted a job quite this big before, so it might be a colossal failure. I've definitely seen some videos and things. Frustratingly though, most of them just kind of, the transmission's already out, the clutch is already off, and they just pull the IMS and then pop a new one in, which is, is great. Like, I get that idea, but they don't really show anything else. So what I plan to do is record the whole thing day by day. This is going to be the first day, but it's already kind of late in the day, so I probably won't get too much done today. But record my progress each day and make separate videos so that they're very detailed and thorough. And then at the end of the process, I will edit it all together into like a short, quick overview, probably. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, this is going to be part one of the IMS saga. Before I begin, let me talk about this. The IMS thing, I think, has probably been a bit overblown. There have been problems with the IMS, but in my mind, the main thing about the IMS is that it is just a feature of the Porsche 986, which allows you to purchase them at very reasonable prices. So yeah, that's working great. I probably wouldn't even worry about the IMS, honestly, except that I know my clutch is getting kind of worn and it isn't really working as well as it should. It's squeaking and there's like some catching in there. I think something is rubbing, and 20,000 miles of commuting in traffic in LA, and I think it's probably pretty much done. So if I'm going in there and I'm replacing the clutch, it makes sense to pull out the IMS while I'm in there, because the main part of the job is getting the transmission out, which you have to do for the clutch. So do it all at once. So yes, enough jammering. I think go ahead and get started. This is like the calm before the storm. Everything's together. I haven't run into any problems yet. I know. As soon as I jack this up and start taking stuff apart, I'm gonna have some probably a few rough days where I'm going to be cursing. But look, rain. Before we start anything, I'm going to loosen the axle nuts on both wheels. And I gotta do this while the car's on the ground so that the wheels won't spin. This will allow us to remove the drive axle later as we're taking everything out. Now, I've seen people do it without removing the drive axle, so it might not necessarily be key. You could probably leave them in. But it's not good on the axle joints, I don't think, to leave them hanging. And they might get in the way. And I know I've got to replace at least one axle boot, and that's going to be a whole lot easier with the drive axles out of the car. So for all those reasons, I'm going to loosen the axle bolt so that I can remove them later. Have to do it on the ground so the wheels don't spin, because the axle bolts are ridiculously hard to get off. They have more torque than Miley Cyrus. In fact, I had to go out and get a 32mm socket that was specially designed for axle nuts. because before I used a regular 32mm socket that I had and an extension, and the torque was just too much for the extender, and it snapped it right off. So this one's deep enough, I don't need an extender, and so it kind of eliminates that weak point. But yeah, tons of torque, they're really on there. Anyway, start with a small little pick. There should be 2 holes in the little cover here. You can reach into those holes and should be able to pull it out. There we go. And then the axle nut is just sitting in there deeply, and it's just a matter of using all kinds of force to pull it out. Yeah, there we go. And as you can see, my scrawny ass isn't even enough to put enough weight on there. Just loosen it. We'll take them off later, but now that it's loose, I can jack the car up and the wheels won't spin when I'm just taking it off because it's loose and pretty easy now. Okay. Moving over to the top of the engine. My manual suggests that well, no, actually just says to support the engine at this point. So I've got to remove this air duct to be able to do that. It's just a hose clamp here. Another hose clamp. Right down here, you probably won't be able to see this one, but this is the hose clamp that connects to the airbox. Right there. And then I should be able to work this thing out. So my Bentley manual says that at this point you should support the engine from the top using special Porsche tool 9591/1. And as my eagle-eyed viewers have no doubt noticed, I have opted for the genuine Porsche special tool and not some equivalent engine support bar. Okay, in all seriousness, I had this stuff on hand and didn't want to spend a bunch of money that I didn't have on an engine support bar, and figured that it's not actually supporting the whole weight of the engine, it's just supporting the part of the engine that was supported by the transmission. So it's really just there to kind of supplement the other engine mounts. This is my thinking, and that this would be sufficient. This could be a colossally bad idea. I have been known to have these. This is probably one of those do not try this at home ideas. So my first task is to just get all of this stuff off so I can actually get at the transmission. And that's going to be a big enough chore as it is. These 2 braces will come off first, and then this plate. Now, in doing this, these braces on this plate affect the alignment. So I will have to realign the rear wheels. In other words, I am committed at this point. So, just using a 15mm socket, just gonna pull all these loose. Now, I will definitely have my car realigned after this, but I want to put it on and get it kind of close. So I'll go ahead and mark where these are. Now this guy right here is one of the adjustment bolts for the alignment. So that will definitely get messed up. It's one of the big things that messes up the alignment. Again, I'll try and mark it, but both sidebars are off. Let's take the time to take this panel off. There are just two nuts here on the back. Nope, scratch that. There are two nuts in the back and two bolts in the front. That'd be an issue. Now this can be a bitch to take off, but it's a whole lot worse putting back on. Yeah. Could have been worse. I can now see the transmission right here, and all its made in Germany goodness. One of the things that, see, if there's a broken boot cover right there that'll need to replace. One of the reasons why it's nice to be able to take everything apart in my garage is that I'll be able to take everything apart and then order parts. And you know, like this part right here, you might not necessarily know is bad, might not be bad, and you don't know until you get in there. So I can now order a new boot cover. My wife is home, so I'm gonna take this roll bar off and then call it a day. For these drop links, they will spin right here because there's a ball joint. So you gotta be able to hold them on the back here and then take a 15mm socket to the front. With the drop links disconnected, I just gotta pull these bushings off right here. This is a 13mm socket. Yep, see? Aluminum. Everything. Smallest little pieces. Porsche. Saves weight on everything. Okay, so progress so far. Can see the transmission, can definitely get to it. There's a bar here. I'm thinking I might have to take off part of the mufflers. And then here. Yeah, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. All right, gonna go spend some quality time with the wifey. Pick this back up tomorrow.